Good morning, Charger History. Happy New Year. Today, as part of our unit on the 13 colonies, we're going to see how and why the 13 colonies organized their government, how their social structure was created, and what religions were important in their everyday lives. The information we learn in this unit is going to give us insight into the things we do and the lives we live as Americans today. Here's our essential question today. What was the social organization of the 13 colonies? And here are two key terms we're going to have in the reading: social mobility and individualism. Remember that today, as we go through the reading, to underline your key points, circle your vocab, and put a box around your titles. As you go through, you can stop at any of the questions to begin to fill out your social organization pyramid at the top on the back page, using the terms up top, and put them in the appropriate locations. As always, stop at every question to see if you can fill out one of the guided notes questions on the back to help you with your prove it at the end. Now pick up your pencil and put it on the first words of the first paragraph. I'm going to begin reading now. In the colonial era, there was a social structure that ranks men, women, children, and slaves. We are going to look at each portion of this social structure to see how they ranked and compared to the others and what their roles were in society. Let's start with the men. Colonial men were seen as the highest social status in the colonies. The men were considered the heads of their families. They were expected to earn a living to support that family. In cities and towns, men might work as merchants or in trade. In rural areas, they tended to be farmers. A few were rich landowners or wealthy businessmen. White men were the only people who could vote in matters of government. Great. Now, colonial women. Women in the colonies had more freedom than in England, but were still considered less important than men. They could not vote, nor could they attend school. By law, they were under their husband's or father's control. Colonial women's main responsibilities were raising children and taking care of the home. Sometime when a husband or father was gone or died, women owned property and took on roles that were traditionally held by men. It was not unusual for a wife or a daughter to run a farm or a plantation in those situations. Women also took on more roles because there was less labor in the colonies. Some colonial women were shopkeepers, printers, or even doctors. Great. Colonial children did not have many rights. They were expected to obey their parents and elders. Children in the areas went where public schools went. Children in rich families often had tutors. Some did not get an education, except for what their parents taught them at home. Girls usually learned a woman's duties from their mothers, and boys learned whatever trade, farming, woodwork, commerce, etc., that their fathers did. If the family owned a business, the children often helped. If the father was a farmer, the children were expected to help work on the farm. Great. Those at the bottom of the social structure were enslaved people. We've covered previously how enslaved people were treated in the colonies, so there should be no surprise to find them at the bottom of this social structure. Many Europeans came to North America because it offered new opportunities. In Europe, land was limited. People were expected to stay in whatever social class they were born into. If someone was part of a lower class, they were expected to stay as part of the lower class in all of their lives. Social mobility was very difficult in Europe. Great. In colonies, things were different. There was a lot of land available. Even those who came to the colonies poor could become landowners. Members of the lower class found that they could work hard and gain wealth. The belief that each individual has the ability to succeed if they work hard is often called individualism. Social mobility and individualism became important ideas in the colonies. Excellent. If you are finished, at the bottom of the back page of your screen, go ahead and stop and jot some of the ideas that came to mind when you thought of different social structures in the colonial century and how it compares to our society today. When you are finished, you may go on to Quizlet and begin practicing for your prove it at the end of class.